Good afternoon. My name is Alastair Gregory. I'm from a company called Alastair Garden Designs. Alastair Garden Designs is a company with an illustrator called Alastair Gardner who has created a number of products which we sell into two markets. One is into the Christmas market and the other is into the heritage market. So our customer base is people like National Trusts, Royal Collection, cathedrals, and then we sell into RHS and a few larger shops like John Lewis. What I'm going to talk to this afternoon is about our experience with Amazon FBA program and how we found it a very useful way to actually get into export markets. I don't know, I'm assuming that those who are coming this afternoon know nothing about the FBA program, so I'll just go through the basics then I'll explain my experience of America. So the FBA program is a worldwide program, and it's in these markets, which is Amazon Europe, which is one market as far as Amazon is concerned. So if you sign up for the UK, you will also effectively sign up for Germany, France, Italy, and Spain. There are other Amazon markets inside Europe. For example, there's Netherlands, but it won't have physical goods that you can then put into an FBA program. There's USA and Canada. There is some relationship between the two, but you will have to sign up separately. Canada, Japan, China, and India. Now, I've got experience of Amazon Europe, USA, and Canada, and I know nothing about the other three markets. So how does it work? So the first thing you need to do is you sign up online to sell on Amazon. And that's a program where you can either pay nothing or you can set up as a professional, pro program. And in the UK, you're going to be paying £25 per month. In the USA, that's $39.99 a month. I'd recommend that you go for the pro program, as there are certain benefits that you get from that. Once you're on that program, you can then sign up for the FBA, and there's no additional cost. Start then listing your products. It's very straightforward to do that. There are lots of tools on there to help you. You then need to ship your goods into the local Amazon warehouse. If you're doing it within your own country, it's fairly straightforward. In Europe, it's not too difficult. It's when you start exporting out to markets like America, you need to think about it very carefully. It's not difficult, but it can go wrong if you get some paperwork not correct, and I'll explain more later on. Once your products are actually in the warehouse, it's at that point that your products go live. So you may have created the listing, but until the products are visible to Amazon, they won't be visible to the buyers throughout the world. Now, what the service includes is that they take the payment in local currency, and they cover all the pick, pack, and dispatch. So once your product is in there, they look after everything to get the product out into the market. They also provide a customer service. So when that item goes missing in the country, the customer will then phone up Amazon or email them and contact them and will chase Amazon. Amazon also very good that if products get lost, they'll send out replacement products, they'll use your stock, but they'll actually reimburse you for stock that's used. And they'll also cover returns which might be damaged. And again, another important thing is that the returns are all covered by Amazon, and they'll go back into the Amazon warehouse, and they'll then sort those whether they can be resold or not. So there's a lot of work that's happening behind the scenes, which makes it a very inexpensive way to test the market. So the benefits, I would say, is it's inexpensive, as saying, of testing new export market. Your major cost is going to be getting your products in there, signing the fee on a monthly basis, and there is a small storage charge, but I've never found that something that I'm actually even aware of an amount that you have to pay. It removes the barriers for consumers to test your products in those markets. So they're getting next day delivery, they're often getting free delivery, and they're also getting confidence of buying from Amazon. And you also will get onto the programs like Amazon Prime, so automatically you'll get access to that. You'll get the buy box. I don't know how many of you are aware of how the buy box So this is when you go onto Amazon and maybe there's 5 different sellers all selling the same product, the buy box is the price and the location where you can buy it from, which will be visible. The other ones you'll have to click further to find out. So that's quite key to make sure your product gets seen out there. And of course, it's the confidence of buying from Amazon. Now, with the FBA program, they take the cash, as I said earlier, and they pay you every 2 weeks, and they pay into the UK bank account. So all the currency exchange, that's all handled by Amazon. The exchange rates are okay. They're a little bit better than bank rates, but if you were doing large volumes, you might well want to bring in another currency exchange system in place, and you can do that. They also provide you with a shipment system, so you can track your shipment from the moment it's picked up from your warehouse all the way out to the warehouse with Amazon. And there's also an excellent reporting system that you have visibility to. So factors to consider: shipping from UK to Amazon warehouse. This is key to get this right. From my experience, you really want to use a courier to get the goods out, because they have the system to clear customs. Because when you send out the goods, you're actually sending the goods to yourself. You're not shipping it to a customer. So you are the receiver of the goods in that country. Another thing is that the FBA fees relate to the size and weight. So they work on volumetrics. So you need to think carefully about the product and whether it'll fit into one of their standard boxes. And you can do simple things which will end up having a more expensive cost if you're not careful. And I'll explain later on about my experience with that. Tax, that's another element. So when you're shipping into Europe, then there is, it's just like VAT for UK, but in America you've got sales tax. And if it's shipping from one state to another, then there is no sales tax to pay. So most of the time, tax isn't an issue in the USA market. Working out what your pricing is going to be for your products is something you need to think very carefully to get the price right for that marketplace. And that's why I think having local advice is really helpful. You also need to see how to get your products up the list. So if you take something like mugs, I think there's something like about 2 million listings in Amazon USA. And unless you're on very high up on the pages, your product just won't be seen. So you've got to think of tactics to try and get that further up the listing. And I'll explain what we did to try and achieve that. You also need to work out what happens if your product has gone into a warehouse in the USA or another market and it doesn't sell. How do you get rid of it? Amazon has a program where they will return goods to you, but in the same market, or they'll destroy the goods for your behalf, but there are fees attached with that. So my experience is with Amazon USA, and that's what I'm going to talk to this afternoon about. Our product has been Advent calendars, and we started doing this about 2 years ago. We'd had great success in the UK, and we thought we'd try it in America. What I did is that I then went out to find out what the market was for Advent calendars in America, and I found that it was difficult to get the information. So I talked to UK Trade, I commissioned an OMIS report, and that actually indicated there weren't likely to be very high sales, which I was surprised at. But I got some local advice from someone who was in the marketplace, and from that I slowly was able to work out what I thought was the right price for our products. So probably the most important thing I found for researching the market was actually to visit the market. And I went to the stationery show, and there I was able to identify what the pricing was going to be and the size of the market. If you've got someone you know in the marketplace, maybe a friend who's out there who can just help you try and gauge what the right price is. You also need to think about the right wording, because you might think that a product says Happy Christmas might be the right term if it's about a Christmas product, But in America, they all talk about happy holidays, an easy mistake to make if you're trying to come up with the right keywords for people to actually find your product. Now, this is very important, is that to sell in USA Amazon, you need to complete an IRS form W8BEN. This is a Inland Revenue tax form from the US tax office. Amazon has a system where you can complete that. Once you've completed that, then if you are selling from the UK into the USA and you have no physical presence out there, then you do not have to report your taxes to the US tax body. However, I would say you need to take accountant's advice about your own particular situation. Now, getting product into America, what we did, as I mentioned earlier, we used couriers, and there are two companies we've used. One is UPS and another is DHL, and we found it a very fast and efficient service. So I can send a product on a Wednesday, and it'll be in stock on a Friday. And the cost of that, you can get maybe sort of about 20 kilos going over for, I'd say about £45. And it depends on what your product is, but I'd say that is the best way to ship goods in. Because what they do is they actually clear customs on your behalf. And if instead you decide to ship those items in yourself using, for instance, sea freight, then because you are the receiver of those goods, then you are actually going to have to clear customs yourself. And that can be expensive because you'll need things like a customs bond, which will cost you a couple of $1,000s in America. You've always got to think when you're doing this is you're actually selling inside the USA. So you're getting the listings right. You've got to make sure that you're linking into the right holiday seasons. So Thanksgiving is a key event for Christmas products. Here, that's when it really starts for our sales, much later than the UK. So finally, my top tips. I would say very much you need to seek local consumer knowledge. That's key. You also need to take great care with the courier shipping paperwork. So if on the paperwork you decide to put in Amazon FBA as the receiver of the goods rather than yourself, then it's likely it'll get held up and won't actually arrive because Amazon won't receive things on your behalf. You're shipping to yourself, and that's something you just constantly remind yourself about. Also, what Amazon does in the States, because it's such a large market, is that when you say you want to send 100 items into the FBA program, it'll automatically split that across a number of warehouses because they'll want to put one lot into the West Coast, some into the middle of America, some onto the East Coast. So what we did is that we then, say we want to send 100 items across there, we would then see where that was going to place it, and then we'd then do a new shipping, cancel that one, and come up with a different one saying, well, what we really want to do is to send out 120 items, because then we'll get the box sizes right. Because otherwise you can land up sending 15 items at a very expensive rate, while you've got 75 to another warehouse, and the final item's going to a third warehouse. I said earlier about fitting your products to the FBA boxing size. If you take the example of the advent calendars, we have headers that we put onto our advent calendars. If I had the header upright, as you'd see it in the shop, that would be an oversized item, and I pay more or less double the rate for the FBA program. But if I fold it back, then I was going to a standard size box, and the cost just dropped. So you've got to be very careful and really go through and look at all the different sizes and all the different pricing. You also get a lot of information that comes back because Amazon will tell you who viewed, what the conversion rates are, what the sales are, how that compares to previous periods. You'll also get comments from customers, and you'll pick up useful information about things that people really like about the products, things that they want to see changed. And just like the UK, you'll find that you may need to change your product to fit that marketplace. And you get all that information very quickly. because you can get into a market. I mean, the fastest we did it was we went into the Canadian market, and I think we decided to go at the beginning of October, and 2 weeks later we were selling our first products. It doesn't take long to do this at all.